this week. And actually today we are focusing on stopping elder abuse. So we are saying to all of us, stop elder abuse. Why? Because we want to join the rest of the world in celebrating and in marking the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And our guest will be telling us more about that day, when it all started and how it's marked in different places. But allow me to introduce our guest today. She's not new to CAC TV. She's not new to the Rays of Hope program. Wanjiku Cairo. It is such a blessing to have you back on Rays of Hope. You're a blessing and we thank God for you. So karibu sana. So Wanjiku Cairo is a CEO of a foundation that's called Purity, that takes care of the elderly. Please say hello to the viewer. Okay. And tell us a little about that organization. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Lucy, for the opportunity. This is awesome. And I just love the conversations that you and I have. And I believe you're going to have excellent time today talking about elder abuse. The viewers, I wish to thank each one of you for watching us. And really, you are going to be enlightened. And we are going to talk about this great topic about elder abuse as we remind you, viewer, that we're not talking about those old people. We're talking about you, because you're going to age. Thank you.
And you tell us more about that. But just to start us off, allow me to read from the book of Exodus, Exodus 20 and verse 12. Actually, that's the 5th commandment. Exodus 20 and verse 12. And it says, honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. And Wanjiku, this is the only commandment that has a promise, something that we enjoy here.
Exactly.
What do you hear in that verse?
What I hear in this verse is that, when you have a promise, and it's the only promise, and we're not honoring our parents, we are not honoring the older people, or even our grandparents, where there is a promise, as long as you're younger than that person, I think you should honor that person. And that is where we talk about, and I keep repeating as we start the topic, I want us to talk about humanity, humility, and dignity. There is no way you're going to be given dignity or accorded dignity if you're not honoring those ahead of you, or even honoring humanity. So that verse, a promise, it's that you're going to, but promise is not actually, I'm a Christian, but not necessarily that when you die, it's when you're going to get it. It is when you're on earth that you're going to have that promise, and you feel it. It is gratifying to have that promise. I have it, and I feel the promise because I honored my parents. I honored them, and I honor the elderly. Despite the fact that Purity Elderly Care Foundation, and Purity is the name of my late mother, who died. My name is Joyce, for the record, but Joyce Wanjiku Cairo, but Purity is the name of my late mother. And despite the fact that I founded the foundation or the organization in her honor, it is not that I did not honor her. It is a conviction that came to my life that I did not take care of her while she needed me during her ailing period. So I honored her, and that's why the guilt and the conviction and the provocation came upon for me to open the organization. So honoring a parent gives you gratification. I have that.
Wonderful. No wonder you look young. Kwanzaa, before we go on, tell us about this blowing of candles. The other day I got a clip and I saw you blowing many, many, many candles. And I figured out you've turned to a certain floor. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it was such an honor, and I wish to thank every person who supported the event. First, I hit the 5th floor, and 5th floor, yes. And
I think so far you're the youngest looking
5th floor
person.
Next to Celine Dion.
Next to Celine Dion.
Yeah. So I turned 50 on the 30th of May, and to do that I had to do something big, because 30 with COVID and things that are happening in the world, is not, 50 is not something small. 50 is big.
Yeah.
And I thought this Jubilee had
It's
to
a
be
golden thing.
It's a golden thing.
Yeah.
And being healthy, looking young, feeling vibrant, just being happy,
Yeah.
it was worth it. So on the 29th of May, I called the elderly. We did a celebration. We did a brief one because it was a very cold day. So I cooked for them. I personally cooked for them, and we had that lovely moment. On the 30th, my friends came to me with tents, chairs, cakes, boozy, nini, and we had a good time. And yes, I blew 50 candles.
That was a lot.
I blew 50, but you know, God's timing. So going forward, I think I'll tell people I'm 33 because
Why?
I blew them up to 33, then I got tired. So I think
You paused.
I paused. So I paused at 33. So when you see me 33 but 50 years old, yes, I'm 50.
You look young, and the energy, and we thank God for that. And indeed, yes, the promise, it works. It works.
Yeah.
Because,
And also the other thing, it is the thing that makes me is sometimes, and I try to read you something, they first ignore you, they then laugh at you, they then fight you, then you win. That's the spirit of saying ignore, and in the end analysis. So you live that happy life. When I started Purity, everyone thought I was out of my mind. My own father, who was my best friend, said she's out of her mind. So living that vibrant resilience, that is what has actually kept me.
You're following your passion.
Well, yeah, my purpose.
And your purpose.
My purpose.
Passionately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm living a purpose-driven life.
A purpose
50
driven
going
life.
forward, I'm living a purpose-driven life.
Wow.
Yes.
And may the Lord keep us healthy to celebrate the 6th floor with you.
Thank you.
We will. We pray that God will give us that chance. Now, coming back to the day that the world is celebrating around this season, World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. When did this day begin? Tell us a bit about that.
World Elder Abuse Awareness Day was first established, or not even established. It was, the resolution went in December of 2011, and it was first marked in the world on 15 June of 2011. No, 2012. Purity Elderly Care Foundation, through the research of Wanjiko, we noted the day was there, and we marked it for the first time in Kenya. And we did it with lovely young people from Kimathi University, some Matatu touts, I don't like calling them makangas, and we did a walk in Nyeri town creating awareness about the day. And since then we have celebrated the day, apart from last year where we only did a walk into homes due to COVID. But we have celebrated the day over the years. And just to mention, this is not International Day for Older Persons, that is October 1. This is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, where we tell you, everyone, the government, everybody, that elderly are being abused. And as we talk about them, as you abuse them, you're also getting there. So, and when we talk about elder abuse, we're talking about so many things. First, I'll go to the first one that I really is close to my heart right now, the COVID-19 pandemic. Last year, when the COVID-19 hit the world was like the elderly are dying. Old people are the ones who are dying. Old people, and there was that. Yes, people died in Europe in mass numbers or big numbers, and many died because of confined in old people's homes. And as a result, you know, the disease spread because of the pre-existing medical conditions. So that is the one stigma that I would want to tell people, yes, COVID is there. It is there, and we need to accept it is there. But let's not pin only the older persons are dying. I have had old people, very many elderly people who have so many existing conditions. I have 1 in 107 elderly person. It is good that we mention that they should stay at home, but let's not, you know, hammer only the elderly are dying. And
actually, that's COVID is still with us.
It is still with us.
So that kind of a stigma is something we don't want to propagate.
Exactly.
We don't know how long this situation is going to be with us. We are praying to God that, you know, God removes this thing and we move on. So we'll come back to that. But just to remind our viewer that the topic for today is Stop Elder Abuse. We want all of us to participate in stopping the abuse of elders. By the way, and you can remember, please, you can continue following us also live on CAC TV Kenya, on Facebook, and CAC TV Kenya on YouTube. Now, I got thinking about, you know, when you talked about we are getting there. You see, we are all a year older. But when Corona started, we were a year younger from where we are
I just
now.
turned 50, remember?
Yeah, you just turned, and you're 33. But I was just thinking, as you were talking, I don't know why the years in primary school seemed to last forever. It was like 3 years in one. Like first term, for me, it felt like a whole year, and then second term, another year. The years never seemed to end. But now, I've become more aware, and it's like years are moving. So yes, we are
Become
getting
the
there.
responsibility
We're
as
getting
well.
there.
We are getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah. So let's not
Yeah.
ignore the fact that
Yeah.
we are getting old.
We're getting old.
Yeah. And let's stop saying Adwashi Wakuru. No.
It's not them.
No, Adwakuru. Let's talk about Adwakuru. And because when you talk about old, don't point.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about aging.
Yeah.
When you point, it is called ageism. Ageism, A-G-E-I.
Yeah, ageism.
Yes, ageism. Ageism is age discrimination. So when you point them, you are discriminating them. Again, that discrimination is elder abuse.
Aha.
Yes.
And before we get there now, generally speaking, before we get to the particular issues, what would you term as elder abuse in a general way, as we
In a general
Go
way,
specific, yeah.
first is that ageism, age discrimination. Because when you start saying those old people, those old people, those
Old people, wazee, watu wazee.
what was there? Discrimination. You've discriminated the elderly. Two, the stigma about COVID, another stigma related.
Yeah.
Then we also look at elder abuse. I will give you a good example, although I'm not fighting anyone, but I'm saying the reality. In 2018, there was the Inua Jamii cash transfer program was it was introduced. Or it was launched, and in May, and elderly people were registered for the cash transfer, 70 plus. So Inua Jamii was 70 plus cash transfer program. Since then, registration has not been done.
And that was 2018.
18. So now my question is, every day we have an old person turning 70. Because I'm in the grassroots and I work with these elderly people, the first question, even their families and even the community, they keep asking, Wanjiku, what's going on with this Inua Jamii 70 plus cash transfer program? And to me, some will say, Gakwetare dona besha ishi, you know, and many have died having not. To me, that stigma, I am hated. The government is not thinking about me. I also find myself in the same situation because I'm not able to help them. I'm not able to register them. The chiefs cannot register them. There is a system. So that is one form of elder abuse. You promise an old person, I'm going to give you this.
And you don't.
Years down the line, you don't.
They're still waiting.
They're still waiting.
Yeah.
To me, that is elder abuse. So I think that is something that we need to correct. However, despite that, there is that delay in registration, the system has improved. It is no longer flawed. There is a process. It is the way they're giving or distributing, disbursing the funds. It is being done better than it was done in the past. However, let's register more elderly people. The budget yesterday talked about elderly people cash transfer. The budget added, or rather, I don't know how to put it, 3 billion for elderly, for disabled and people living with disability. So at least we can say something good is happening, but every day we are aging. I just turned 50.
So there's more to the many faces of the abuse, as you're putting it.
Exactly.
Could be social, could be economic.
Economic, there is also something like inheritance abuse, where when we are young people, the people are thinking about how the parents can die very quickly to inherit their estates, not just land, their estates. There is also the issue of drug abuse, where first, even the elderly themselves abuse themselves by substance abuse, alcohol, and other things, and as a result, they are stigmatized by the society. Wow. Or the community because of their character when they're drunk. They're also the young people or the younger generation, they abuse substance, and as a result they abuse their own parents. So we also have this other issue of a notion that if you have Alzheimer's or dementia, that you hear people saying, Aurora, you know, just, you know, those things. You know, she should be, or he should be moved to an old people's home. He's a burden. And that word burden, murigo.
You take people as kamorigos.
Yes.
Burdens.
Burdens. That burden, it's like taking a bag of potatoes. If you take your parents a bag of rice or sack of, when you do that, you're stigmatizing your own. And I want to tell guys, as much as we want to talk about elder abuse by the society, if I were you, and you're born out of 20, you are number 4, take your parents as you're the only one born of that family. Take care of that parent. Stop waiting for others or for your siblings to say, no, she should be there or he should be there. Try and do your best. Look for funding or look for resources, look for society to come and help you, but don't expect your own siblings to behave the way you behave. So, yeah.
So I want us to, I would want us to take one of those things you've mentioned at a time and expound further and actually suggest to the viewer what possibly we can do, because we want to intervene. We want all of us to participate in stopping this kind of abuse. But who is an elderly person?
According to the government, the GOK, or the Bureau of Statistics, the government is 65 and above. But the cash transfer is 70 plus. But according, you know, those are two different. But Purity Elderly Care Foundation, the organization that I founded, it is 70 plus.
Okay.
And we look at, and by the way, I just want to clarify something, because people do not understand. First, Reverend Lucy, we don't have a home for the elderly.
It's not a home.
We do not have a home. We do home-based care. And we go to homes, identify with the support from the local chiefs or assistant chiefs and Ubakumi. So when I'm called by people and they tell me, when you call, I want to bring and I want you to do XYZ for an old person, I always advise guys, go to the area local chief and we will get to know about it, because we also need to respect the families, so that, you know, you don't, with the administration, there's more respect. And so even from both sides.
Yeah.
And it's the law,
and the structure
is
good
to work with. So I just need to clarify that. Now, your question was,
so it is 65
70 plus, yes,
65 plus. So like the cash transfer starts with 70.
Yes.
And as you said earlier, there are many people who have turned 70 after 2018, so they are also waiting. And
2018, imagine how many people have. And by the way, if you look at 1971, and it was 3.5% of older persons at the time, 65 plus. Now it has actually dropped to 2.5. 2020, not 2021. So you see the numbers. Again, it's also the technology, the way we eat. Our nutrition has changed from the way they used to feed, our elderly used to feed at 71. So I will say is that abuse is not only it. We also even us as we age, we look at our lifestyles.
We've not been good stewards.
So the way we eat, the way we don't work manual work anymore. Then technology also has come out to not have that, entertained relationships with our own parents, because we have all this mobile money transfer. The elderly have their little so there's no time to visit the elder persons. So that is also another form of abuse, when you don't visit your own, and you do know it's not money they need. Actually, there's a lady who died, an old lady who died sometime, and she had a lot of M-Pesa. So when she died and they were sending money, imagine she had 72,000 on her M-Pesa. So you see, so it's elder abuse is not just beating, because clearly, it's not just beating. It is also even helping that old woman to wear a mask if you see her without a mask on the road, and to help them cross the road. And for instance, even when the courts people are taking the elderly to courts because of land inheritance. Yesterday,
talk about inheritance, because it's one of the problems
it was one of the problems. Like yesterday, I went to I was with my sister, my older sister Mercy. So we went to the law courts. I mean, not the law courts, just law courts. It's something that I've done because it's where old people go to sign those by force. But we went to the Ministry of Lands. There's this old man who is partially blind, and he's trying to ask for help with forms. And he said, I am blind. I interjected. I was like, can you help? Then who are you with? He was alone. Fortunately, he had the memory of his full names, his ID, his phone number. He didn't have his physical ID. Fortunately, I interjected and he was helped. But you see, now this old man must, I'm sure, he has a neighbor who could have held his hand to bring him to the lands offices. So you see, we don't have that conscious of what is happening around us, about issues affecting the elderly.
A neighbor, and you might be surprised, maybe the sons and daughters are high flyers.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But the old man is struggling.
Exactly. And this man, I'll give him maybe 80 years. Or going to 80, but his memory was intact. But he was partially blind. So we left him there. I was actually in tears. But that one, I really need to tell people, just be there for those people around you with distress, be it young or old. Just notice those little things that are distressing humanity around you, not just the elderly, because that was the case that many people did not notice. Then he queued. Then I was like, God, so that's abuse.
That also says something about our systems and the way they work. And I know you are widely traveled. You've been to these countries where the elderly are given priority. They are a priority group. Whether you enter trains or buses, I don't see that here. Like even seats that are just marked for the elderly, and you cannot just sit there.
And spacious.
And spacious.
So that whether they have a walking frame or a wheelchair.
They will.
Yeah.
You've seen these buses that bend, like
they lift or bend.
They bend, so that the older person can be able to get on board. But here what happens? Our matatus, actually they think the older people are a burden.
If they take the chondo, and you're pushing the person to jump onto the matatu. So I think we need to improve our systems. Now that things are looking like we're doing better, we're becoming more westernized, not quite, but we need to improve more on the system. Infrastructure. And improve, even we don't, like I told you last time I was here, that I had made sure that the elevators were installed at the Nyeri Law Courts. I would want us to look at that.
Remind us about that. Perhaps somebody has just joined for the first time.
Yeah, we went to court for some reason. And as I was walking down the stairs, I saw an elderly person being lifted with a blanket to the Law Courts.
Like
on the second
lifted?
floor. Yes. As again, I saw another one with a mattress. Then I went the following day and I counted the staircases. I walked 72 flights. I imagined going to the second floor, 72 flights, to do succession cases, and it was full of succession cases. I was like, this is not just on. I just went and just wrote to the judiciary. And I told them, you just have to, there's provision for a lift. What are you waiting for? And they responded, and today, even yesterday I was at the courts, and they told, one gentleman told me, it is because of you that we're using lifts.
No, we have lifts.
Then I was like, not for your age, but nonetheless, just use it. But so basically, I think we need to do that. Then even clinics, those even pharmaceutical companies, not companies, pharmacies, chemists, they need to have ramps. Because as we age, these elderly, these young people with disability, we too, we need to be able to walk. My uncle, I'm sure he was going to beat me up. My uncle had he has a uniform shop, school uniforms shop, and he didn't have ramps. So I walked into his big building, and it's his own. So I tried to walk, and I was like, so if I'm forcing myself, how about the elderly? So I walked into his office. I told him, Uncle Kakia, ramps. Do you know, 2 days later he had a ramp.
Wow.
And now people are walking up the ramps.
Wow.
Because if I had difficulties, and many people have orphans. Just to tell you another thing, orphans. Now let's get to orphans.
Now, before we get to orphans, I just want us to,
to expand.
Just before we go on break, because we're going on break, just for us to get that in our minds, that wherever God has put us, wherever God has placed us in our sphere of influence, we need to be sensitive.
Exactly.
It took your initiative to get the judiciary in that court place to put up the elevators, the lifts.
And they responded to me, by the way. So it's not that we did not communicate.
Then you communicated with your uncle, who
Yes.
perhaps was not aware.
Exactly.
You created awareness.
Yes.
And that's why this day is set apart to create awareness. And this is the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, created to, you know, to have people, you know, empowered and opened up so that they can see and feel what is happening. And what you're sharing with us is very, very important. I would like us to take a short break, but please don't go away, because we'll be expounding further on more areas, and even expounding on what Wanjiku started off, you know, informing us. We want to learn more so that we can be part of the change. We want to be the agents of the change we want to see.
Exactly.
Don't go away. We will be back.
Inasemekana mtafutaji hachoki.
Hakuna kazi rahisi, kazi zote ni ngumu.
Hakuna kitu mwanamume anafanya hapa sisi tunashindwa kufanya. Hakuna.
Akichoka kesha pata.
We only get limited in the mind.
Exactly.
Mimi nasema my space, my creation, I become.
Ungana nasi kwenye kipindi cha Kazi na Mali, ambapo tunakuhimiza
Bado safari ipo. Tunang'ang'ana.
kukuhamasisha
Jua Kali tunatengeneza vitu ambazo zinapatikana katika kila nyumba. Hata nyumba kuu ya Kenya State House utapata mali ya Jua Kali ziko huko.
na kukuelimisha kuhusu sekta mbalimbali zinazounda nguzo kuu za uchumi wa nchi kwa jumla.
Kama association tunawahimiza kabisa kila mtu awe na ile card ya insurance ambayo ni ya serikali.
Usikose Kazi na Mali kila siku ya Jumanne saa 1:30 jioni hapa KAK TV.
Tunasikitika kutangaza kifo cha Kasisi Patrick Maranguru Kenya siku ya Jumatatu tarehe 7 mwezi wa Juni mwaka huu. Kasisi Patrick alikuwa mchungaji katika chuo kikuu cha Presbytery Afrika Mashariki. Ni mtoto wa Bwana Nabii Peter Rukenya na mume wa Lilian Kanini Marangu. Marehemu ni babake John Murithi, Miriam Karimi, James Mugambe na Timothy Mawira. Patrick Marangu ni ndugu ya Gideon Konge, James Mbae, Kasisi Njeru Rukenya, Kadhenya Miriti, Gitonga, Janice Gakuri, Dina Mudhoni na wengine wengi. Ni baba mkwe wa Gitari Tana na Mary Mugambe. Marehemu ni babu yake Keila Tana, Junior Tana, Michelle Tana, Melanie Kanini na Kyle Patrick. Shemeji yake Beatrice Kiria, Kasisi Elias Sigina, Julie Mutegi, Mbaka, Kamweru, Njeru Msheni na wengine wengi. Jamaa na marafiki wanakutana kila siku katika kanisa la PCA St Andrews kuanzia saa 11 jioni. Ibada ya wafu itafanyika katika kanisa hilo tarehe 13 mwezi Juni kuanzia saa 9 jioni. Mwili wa mwenda zake utatolewa katika chumba cha kuhifadhia maiti cha hospitali ya mafunzo na rufaa ya Kenyatta Jumanne ya tarehe 15 mwendo wa saa 1 asubuhi, na baadaye ibada ya mazishi kufanyika katika kanisa la PCA Chuka kuanzia saa 4 asubuhi. Marehemu atapumzishwa nyumbani kwake eneo la Chuka, kaunti ya Tharaka Nithi. Kutoka runinga KAK tunasema makiwa kwa jamaa na marafiki wa mwenda zake.
Welcome back, and I trust that you are enjoying today's show. Today we are talking about stopping elder abuse in the context of celebrating the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. We've learned a lot. Just before we went for break, we were saying that wherever God has placed us, we are there for a purpose and for a time, for a season, for a purpose. And we need to do our best to improve the quality of life for others. You may not be old now, because we had that definition is like 65 plus. You may not yet be there, but you're getting there. So can we make the world a better place for all of us, so that those of us, those who are already there and those who are not yet there, can find, you know, a good place to live in, where we can exploit our God-given potentials, because it's God's intention and purpose that we enjoy life.
Exactly.
We live life, and we live it life in abundance. So we're talking about accessibility to different places. We talked about the elevators.
Yeah.
You've talked about ramps, and by the way, even churches, we are guilty.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that. There
You
are ramps
are
in some
guilty.
churches,
You're guilty.
and I think it's something that is very important.
Yeah.
Also, in financial institutions like banks, it is also something else that is needed. Even those local chemists, I only insist. You know, you find an old person with a mkonjo, and they're trying to even, you know, I want to even kindly, if you have a chemist shop, you know, those shops where you expect all people to go to, please just allow that. We have people even living with disabilities, and they would like to access these places. Let's be considerate to humanity.
Yeah.
Let's give people dignity. And we always talk about dignity to the old, and I think we need to emphasize on that.
We need to emphasize on that.
We need to emphasize on that. Yeah.
And actually, we're just being disobedient, because it's required actually by law, that as we are constructing, we are building places,
we should have a provision.
We should have a provision. Even in our parking areas.
Yeah.
We need to provide for people who have difficulties, you know, accessing this.
Let me give you a joke.
Yeah.
I went to America, and I was with my sister, and she told me, you know, this parking, if you parked here, you'll be labeled as disabled because you're short. So you see already, and I was like, but nonetheless, I was like, so Joki sister told me, you know, and you see already they're even considering
very particular.
Exactly, they're particular. But I'm not saying that we become careless and say every short person should have that.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is that inability is not. Disability is not inability. So, and the elderly and even the disabled, those living with disability, it is not inability. So let's give provision. Let's accord them dignity in every area of the, you know, the spaces that they are accessing. The accessibility should be promoted.
I must mention this. Actually, a very good man. He's a member of PC Nanyuki. He's called Joe Mashira. Mr. Joe Mashira, God bless you so much. Another day I was talking to him, and he was telling me about a project he was doing to build latrines in a certain church. He visited the church and realized that actually the elderly were missing church because I think the one latrine was not even accessible to them. And of course, as people age, they need to visit the washroom maybe more often. And because they didn't have that assurance, they ended up missing church. Can you imagine that? So he took it upon himself to actually do it. And the last I spoke to him, he was roofing. Wow. And they could not believe it. The older people could not believe it. So let's continue this good work. And God has called good people out there. You know, you talked about when we were off air, something about people are claiming that older people are smelly.
I'll tell you about something, smelling. And I'll say it in Kikuyu. You know what? You were born by those people. I was born by my mother. The diseases that come with so many of us, especially us women, they're bound to give us some kind of odor. But and as they age, many don't want to even shower. And before bath with a basin, many don't want. And as we even talk about them wanting to take a bath or to wash their bodies, it's because it's either cold or the, you know, or that. So when you point that is stigma, huge stigma.
That's stigma already.
It is a stigma that really annoys me. That, and they don't even know. And another stigma, they become like children. Nyinyi. They don't become like children. These are all people who have given birth, who have educated you, who have fed you, who have done so much, who have lived life. And they're going back to children. I want you to look at that child next time and look at that old person next time and compare them and tell me they look like children. That is stigma. That is abuse. They don't look like children. And those who you say behave like children have either Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a not mental, it's like senility where they remember something or they don't, and then you become upset that they're forgetting and they don't even remember your name. Hey, that's not a child, it is a disease. And we thank God, I read in today's newspaper, The Standard, that the US has come up with a drug for Alzheimer's dementia. So let's hope it's going to work and to help a lot of people in the world, and so that many of us who are aging may not get that disease. So the elderly are not children.
And actually, I like what you're saying about the contribution of the older people. We are what we are today because they contributed.
Exactly.
We have freedom because they fought for it. They sacrificed their lives. For us to be enjoying what we're enjoying, we need to give back. We need to make them comfortable. We need to make our elders comfortable. I remember, I remember one time, I actually camped at KQ offices here in Nairobi. Because we were taking our session, which has quite a substantial number of elderly people, to Rwanda, for a tour, for an educative tour and all that, a retreat. I could not imagine subjecting these older people to a road trip to
Rwanda
and from. To and fro. So I camped there and I was like, the line I used, these people have contributed in building this nation. All their years. KQ, you can at least give back. I'm glad they gave us a discount that awesome. It was such an honor.
Yeah. Now, just to go back, something I also want to remind people. Elderly people, and we all get sick. So we are not prone to illness. And you hear people at outside the hospitals, because I visit PGH a lot. Who refuses to eat?
Who doesn't like food?
Who doesn't like food? That statement, anakata kukula, I think we need to also eliminate that statement.
Anakata.
Anakata. Because it is something refusing, really.
Refusing?
Would I want, seriously, sometimes when I don't have appetite, I look for something to make me give appetite. So when the elderly are in hospital and they don't even want to talk to you, they are not talking to you, they're not refusing. Then later, one time almost blamed my mom, 2 days later she died. So when I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm talking out of my personal experience. So that's something that I also wanted to tell people. And the elderly don't smell, and if you say they smell, you can, I'm not cursing anyone. You can break your leg and you're not able to take a bath for months. What will you say? Because you're going to stink.
You
so before you point out at our elderly or us, let's be very careful. Let's use our words with dignity.
Let's be sensitive.
Let's be sensitive. To what we say. And again, people, a solution I would want the matatu touts in the world, in Kenya especially, those taxi drivers, those Buddha guys, please help the elderly cross the road. Hold their hands. Hold me when I'm old. I want to be held. So I'm reminding that 7-year-old, when those years, you just help me cross the road. Just simple things, small things. If you see a bag, help carry a bag. Simple things. I also want to remind religious groups, all of them. We visit the elderly during December once a year. We visit when one is just about to die.
We make it so
ceremonial. And we have that, and everybody is carrying. They don't even see that as important. I'm sorry. They may see you that time, but they may wonder, where have you been all this time? So let's be consistent. Let's do it regularly. Let's not have just 1 week for the elderly, while every other week we have, something else. But so let's be consistent. Let's be considerate. Yes, a lot of old people are not going to church. So as a result, they're at home. Many don't have TVs to watch. Like I have my Uncle Lloyd and Aunt Modoni who watch TV on church like religiously. I stayed with them for 2 days and it was just awesome. But there are many who are not like my uncle. So I would want to tell guys, they are not going to church, make regular visits, not just the ones visit due to COVID. So make visits and observe the rules and don't go empty-handed. Carry some food. And a matchbox always, remember?
You told us about matchbox.
Yeah.
What about a matchbox?
A matchbox is something, it's fire, which is, first it gives two things. You can cook with fire and you can keep yourself warm. Unless you're in the urban area, the suburbs, the Laurentians and the others, and you don't need that. But when you go to those Laurentians and the urban areas, go with compassion. Carry your heart, your love with you, and whether they have and something with you, and take it to that old person's home. Take compassion to the elderly. Even that neglect, that loneliness. By the way, the elderly ones, you keep quiet, you don't talk to them as often. They become depressed. Depression, and they want to be seen. When are you coming? You've said, I have a friend of mine, I really miss her, Modoni Lekimani. I truly miss her, I haven't gone to see her, but I should. And you see, she misses me because of the way we interact. So guys, I'm asking you, let's visit the elderly, rich, poor, and just give compassion, because you want to be given compassion one day.
So there are people who need help in terms of things in kind, but they also need emotional support. And all human beings need that emotional bit, whether they're the halves of the land.
Even that Mogoroki in the market. If you just say hi, that person will remember you every day because you say hello to that person. Just hi. Just saying, without giving anything, just say hi. That person, even that child, just say pinch and be consistent. That person, that child will remember you. So equally, as we age, we need to be.
It doesn't stop when we age.
It doesn't stop when we age.
In fact, we need more of that.
We need more of that because we are lonely and we are conscious of what is happening in our surroundings. You're listening to news, you want to know what's happening.
And also there are anxieties that come with also knowing that actually life is coming to an end. So that's the time we need support more.
We also talked about poverty. Poverty is, I'm not saying it's here to stay with us, but it is there. We cannot eradicate poverty globally or on earth, but it is there. But as a society, and that's what I would want us to do, as a society, let's also be conscious that neighbor does not have flour. Don't run to Njiko and you have meat. Why don't you share with that one? What you have. So poverty is there, and I know we can eradicate. That's why the cash transfer is being given to older persons. But poverty, it is either, and one thing. Someone asked me, why is it that the elderly are poor and they do not invest in old age? Do you know what happened? Especially in the Mount Kenya region, it is because of the Mau Mau. They were moved from one corner to the other during the emergency, the wars. So there was no, you find a woman who was taken away from her husband who was actually in Posta, Nairobi, and taken to the homes, what were those whatevers. You should read that book that I told you about. So poverty, a lot of people who are very poor right now, who are living in Gikomos and others, are people who are involved in the fight for struggle. In the struggle. So let's not judge people. Let's not be judgmental that this is what they're poor because of XYZ. Let's be sensitive with our thinking and our words towards what is happening in society.
And talking about poverty, there are basic needs in that we know that a human: food, shelter, clothing. Put that in the context of the aged.
Okay, on the context of the aged, I think you won't like me very much.
It's okay.
But if you don't like me,
we're here to learn.
You're here to learn. And I'm here to tell you the truth. We are talking about elder abuse. And if I don't speak it, you'll know who will. So I'm an activist and I'm here to advocate and champion the rights of older persons. So activists are not liked. I will not be liked today. Food is a basic need. We need to give people, everyone, food. People need to feed. Shelter, it is compulsory. We should not allow our elderly people to be stuck in streets, and people are being abused. Elderly people are being raped, sodomized. So shelter is a compulsory. Clothing, Where there is no clothing, we provide, and we provide decent clothing.
Yeah, and warm.
And warm clothing, like blankets. We also need, we are in this cold season. So, and this is a season where we have the Elderly in Cold campaign. We create awareness and we bring people old matchboxes, blankets, and firewood. Like when I was coming to Nairobi, the road is being built. I saw a lot of firewood. I was like, God, how can I capture this firewood? And I was just salivating and saying, who has a truck to help me buy and help me buy all that firewood and provide, you know, give to the elderly, because that firewood is a lot and not many of us are using the firewood. Yeah. So we're talking about clothing and shelter. And now I'll give you a good example. Or an example. Let me call it, not call it good. I receive phone calls from people and they tell me, Wajiko, nimepata namba yako from so and so, or we've been hearing about you on KAK TV and others, and you know, my mom died. So I was like, oh, Pole, we have her clothes. We want to give them to you. Then I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So now your own dies, and you think that my older person who is also probably headed that way, including myself, you're giving me their clothes because they're dying. Your own has died, guys. First, again, choice of words. Don't give me because someone has died. I would rather you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
The reason you're giving.
Because actually they just wanted to declutter.
Decluttering your house. Your mom's clothes are clutter, your father's clothes are clutter. Now you want to bring them to purity and as a clothes bank, then distribute to the elderly. Lucy, I am sure you have a Bible. No, your mother has a Bible. Does she? Give her a new one. Do you think she'll change?
No.
She'll still continue reading the same one. Ask her to change her clothes right now. Will she? She'll go with her favorite.
Reminding her of her nice, warm clothes that are new, and she's like, no.
I know. And then these people who want to bring me clothes, they won't bring food. So I'm like, how do I take the clothes without? So sure, these are from a person who went to be with the Lord, but I have no food. So I think when it's some gifts, give them with compassion. Also know what to give. I'm not saying clothes are bad. It's how you give them and to whom you're giving. And I'm not saying we don't wear clothes. However, there are so many homes that have burned and people are but for me to you know, just take clothes. Sometimes you find when we have so many of them, they'll fight for them. But guess what? They'll just go and give them away. So why let's just give them.
And there's something you told me that's quite remarkable. That children are growing, they need change of clothes.
Yes.
But the old people have reached a certain, so they don't need so many.
I'm sure you've seen in my WhatsApp, and not Facebook and other groups. There's a woman who has a Norwich sweater. She has worn it since I met her in 2011. And every time she comes to my event, she has
her orange.
Same. And if you have seen me on Facebook with her, she consistently the same. So when you ask us to go and change the way they dress, it is actually impossible. But if you ask me to deliver some food to them, those who are not able, we find a caregiver, a community worker to give the food so that they can support this old person. And that is what we call adopt a granny model. Adopt a granny model is what we ask Reverend Lucy. We have this Kamau here. He's partially blind. He has issues. Can you adopt him? Then we look for a community worker. We buy food for the not money. You pay money to a supermarket or a shop near there. She collects the food and takes care of Kamau. It is adopt a granny model, so that we ensure that that person is taken care of, so that the food area is sorted. The shelter area we also identify, again with the local administration, we identify and ensure that we have sorted out that particular old person. So basically those are the things that we look into. So poverty, we eradicate in one way or another. But in terms of clothes, I want to emphasize, the dead.
I don't want us to end without talking about this in a minute, like overburdening. Some of our older people are overburdened. Talk about that briefly.
Okay, we have some elderly people who have children and their children, their children's children. Their children give birth, after doing all, prostitution or alcohol abuse, or they go to work elsewhere, and they leave their children with their mother. Others, we have unfortunately have had families who the children are orphans, they're left with their grandfathers, not most of the times. So basically, that is overburdening the old person. So the old person has to feed like 7 kids, and she's alone, and
she's weak.
She's weak
herself. She needs to be taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we need to tell even I think even as a people, as we reduce overburdening by supporting financially or supporting with food, we also need to take time out and talk to those who are leaving the elderly. We need to reach out and look for them to see how we can bring them back. If they're not, and I think we need to have a law that says you should not neglect your own, especially if they're under 18. We need to have that. We need to have that, in the, not because many say their father left them, but then you find them in town, drunk in metaros, but the children are left and they don't even take food. The other cases, I remember I gave food to a lady. She sold the food, which was supposed to give to take to the great grandmother.
Sad.
So it is really sad. I think we need to stop. Orphans are there. We understand because it's death is inevitable, but we also need to be cognizant that these old people are human beings, and we need them to exit this earth with dignity, like I would, I would. And I keep saying like I would because aging is not them; it is about us again. So we need to stop.
We have talked about deaths. We've mentioned that really it's inevitable, really. But then there's a trend I'm seeing about us elevating death and funerals over and above celebrating life.
That's a good one. I like you remember that. Now, every time I see WhatsApp group, death of my mother, death of my father, that WhatsApp groups. The other day, there was a WhatsApp group that was opened by a young friend of mine called Karuri, Ben. Ben opened the WhatsApp group to celebrate his father from recovering.
And
we went to Kiawara PCA and we thanked God for the recovery of his dad. Recovery of his dad. And I said in that church, I told them, I like the group. So don't open a WhatsApp group to me or for me and you add Wanjiku Cairo and then the next topic, it's a budget, an Excel worksheet of 50,000 coffin, Nini flowers. Give your parents flowers now. They won't see them when you put them there. And then when you go to the funeral, you find two nephews or nieces or great grandchildren with T-shirts. Goodbye shows. Who are you showing?
It's for our own sake and our image.
What is this? What are you trying to show? And the last time that this child, maybe the child was not even born, or maybe was born like or the grandmother never saw. Maybe the child is maybe 3 years due to COVID. They never even got to meet. And she has a goodbye shows. We loved you shows. Love them now. And that's the bottom line. Spoil them now. Buy those flowers.
Spoil.
And by the way, about inheritance. If there's an old person listening to me, if there's an old person listening to me, and you have land and a lot of estate, ebu sell kidogo and have fun.
At least cooler.
Don't wait for these mangaroos to come and take from you.
and we should stop having this sense of entitlement. We should work also. Like our parents and our grandparents and get our own. Earn our own.
Exactly.
Now we want to
awards.
Wind up.
Yes.
Before we do, we celebrate you, and I think time is never enough to talk about the work you do and to talk about all that is happening out there. But you've won some awards, please.
Before the awards, and quickly I'll make it. On Tuesday, from Tuesday, we are celebrating, we are marking International Older Persons Day. We are asking guys, do something in your home, do something for an old person, love them, give them compassion. If you cannot, we want blankets as well. We want the things that we will make the elderly happy. So kindly, you may contact me. Should I get my number?
You
may contact us on 0721 355 485. 0721 355 485. Now, awards.
Yes.
Through the support, through the love from the elderly, had I not loved them, or had they not loved me, I would not be their Wajikwa Wakuru. Had the supporters who support Wajikwa Wakuru, I would not be Wajikwa Wakuru. Without my colleagues, Akina Rachel and Sami and others, would not be doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And as a result, Purity Elderly Care Foundation has received 6 awards. 2 international awards, and 1 I went personally to receive it in Switzerland, Montreux, in 2017. And the award is called, it's from the Global Aging Network for Special Commendation for Aging Services in the world. And only 2 institutions got the award. Other awards are also prestigious, but they are still coming, and not because of me, it is because of the elderly and the people who work with me, including yourselves and other media houses. Thank you very much for your support, and really, we look forward to actually serving humanity in a very special way going forward.
I like what you have said as we celebrate this awareness day of to stop elder abuse. Do something, purpose to do something, and we want to congratulate many. We just from the Women's Guild celebration and all that, and many Women's Guild groups have adopted grannies. We love them so much, and I know some families also who have adopted. I like that model. Adopt a granny, adopt someone, and even for those who are still mourning, their parents. There are so many parents out there to be loved. So adopt a father somewhere. Adopt a mother somewhere.
Adopt
love them.
Orphans.
Orphans. Love them, spoil them. And God will bless you because of that. And we say that we're not remembered by the estates we leave behind, but by the lives we touched while we were alive. We must bring this to an end. I hope we'll get another chance to have you here.
Thank you.
And when we call you, please do answer.
Thank you.
That has been exciting, but more exciting is that we have learned. We'll be more sensitive in the way we talk, the way we handle our elderly people, and the way we reach out to them, because we are also getting there. We've been reminded, actually we are getting there. Where they are, we will be. Where we are, they were. Did you get that? So that's how life happens. So thank you very much for keeping it, CAC TV, and more so Rays of Hope, where we encourage and inspire resilience, courage, and hope. So there is hope for our elderly people. There is hope for all of us, even as we move to that level. God bless you. Keep hope alive. God bless you.